What's going on, folks? Travis, Valkyrie Fitness. I got Ellen with me. Say hi, Ellen.
Hi.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna back squat today. Welcome to back squatting. All right, so we're gonna back squat today, and there's just a few things we're gonna focus on the back squat today. The back squat is kind of like one of the mothers of the functional movements. It's great for quad development, great for booty development. If you go low enough, it's just great for posterior chain development. But it's actually great for your core as well. And that's some of the things that we're gonna be talking about when you're doing the back squat with us today, okay? A few key things to look at while we're doing our little Valkyrie Fitness back squat. So we're gonna have Ellen walk up to the bar first, okay? So notice that the bar here is in between her neck and the top portion of her chest. That's about where your height should be whenever you're setting up for your back squat, and shouldn't be below the chest, shouldn't be up underneath the chin, because that would be too high, that would be too low, and your goal is to come off of the rack as efficiently and smoothly as possible, so you're not adding any more extra energy into the equation while you're getting ready for your lift. Another thing to think about is once you come off of the back squat, make sure you get your body set. One of the main things that Ellen had to learn whenever she first started back squatting with me is I would have to tell her, hey Ellen, when you come off that rack, don't just drop down into that hole right off the bat. Come off the rack, get your body set, give me a good squeeze on the glutes, and then open up that sacrum, and then allow yourself to sit down in those heels in the back squat. So that's what we're gonna focus on. All right, so hop up underneath the bar. Okay, so we're gonna want that bar right here below the nape of the neck, finding a little bridge area here. Some people might do a low bar, which is gonna have it a little bit further down in the scap region. Here, we're just gonna do a normal, what we would consider high bar movement. And then what I'm gonna have Ellen do is shoot those hands in a little closer so we can get some nice tight elbows, which is where our core engagement is gonna come from. So when she comes off of this rack, everything here is nice and tight and the bar does not feel too heavy. So come on off the rack. Okay, so from here, she's gonna stand up nice and tall. She's gonna get a real good squeeze on those glutes. And then when she opens up her sacrum, she's gonna sit down into her heels and let her knees naturally track out. Good. Into the squat, give me about 4 more reps just like that. Good, go ahead and walk that back up and rest. Perfect. Nice and deep in the squat. The number one question people ask all the time when it comes to back squat, am I getting too deep? I don't feel like I'm getting deep enough. How deep is too deep? Ellen and I have actually had that conversation before in the gym. What you have to base it on is the flexibility and the range of motion of your athletes. If your athletes are tight, if your athletes are not stretching the way that they need to, if you're not able to help with the stretching and flexibility programs for your athletes, it's gonna be very difficult for them to get low in their squat, especially if they like to run or do anything that's really working on those hamstrings, doing yoga, any of that stuff. So let them know that if they want to get deeper in their squats, which Ellen was getting very deep, looking amazing in her squats, you're only gonna be able to do that if you're actually taking the time to stretch out the hamstrings, stretch the front of the hips, make sure those hips are open enough, wide enough, so that you can really sit down into that squat. Because if you're able to sit down nice and low in the squat, that's how we get that good engagement from the posterior. That's how you get that booty work in on that squat, and we don't center all of that pressure up to the front and the quads. We got front squats, we got all other types of squats that we can let be a lot more quad dominant, but we can add a little bit more to the posterior on our back squat as long as we're staying nice and upright, nice and tight with the chest, and sitting very low, pushing those knees out. We're gonna do about 5 more squats. Going over those key points once again. So nice and tight, elbows tight. Coming off the rack, taking about 2 or 3 steps back, finding those feet right outside the hips, and then getting that good squeeze, eyes forward, and then pushing out those knees as she sits down in the squat. Good. One more. Good, awesome work. Walk out of the way. It's not rocket science, folks. It's just back squatting. Challenge yourself with the weight. Make sure you're stretching. Make sure you're working on your range of motion and your flexibility. If you're able to add some significant weight to this, think about your body weight. If you're able to squat your body weight, it will do amazing things to your aesthetics, to your well-being, and to your strength development. So back squatting is one of the #1 things you need to have in the mix. So make sure you're focusing on a nice, tight, strict form when you're doing that back squat.